We are back with you. Just some technical difficulties. You are with, it's Ansem and Malcolm tonight. Malcolm, my son, is sitting in as a special guest on In the Village with Ansem and Marjorie. And every once in a while, ladies and gentlemen, technical difficulties do happen, and you just have to deal with that. So before we got shut down, Malcolm, he was talking about this young kid who brought a gun to school. I was trying to understand that. Is it that it appears to me that it's a possibility that this kid is always playing with that gun or had easy access to that gun in order for him to actually go get a gun and bring it to school? Some people think that maybe there's a possibility that the kid may be being bullied at school and he wanted to bring the gun to school, to show whoever was bullying him that, listen, be careful, and to scare them, but it's kind of dangerous for a kid to be bringing a gun to school.
Well, I believe it's beyond dangerous. It's can be tragic, catastrophic, horrendous, awful. We've seen episodes of this happen previously. We've seen Columbine. We've seen many different happenings of kids, or whether it be an adult or a kid, use a gun in the wrong way. So being able to, I guess, get into the mind of that young kid is something that I guess would be for those investigating the situation to do. But I mean, obviously it's something that's wrong. It shouldn't be done. It puts everyone else in danger. It puts the kids in danger that go to school there. It puts the teachers in danger and makes parents uncomfortable.
But doesn't parents have a responsibility here that if you have a gun in the house, it should be safely secured,
sure,
and kids should have easy access to that gun?
Sure, but how do you define easy access? I mean,
it's left on a countertop, or the drawer where the gun, or the safe where the gun is left open.
Okay, but what if it wasn't left open? Do we know the specifics as to how he obtained the gun? As far as I know, I don't have the necessary information to say how he got the gun, as to how easy it was that he obtained it.
But it had to be somewhat easy for him to get it.
I don't think that's a fair statement.
Why not?
What do you mean somewhat easy? He could have seen his mom or dad or whomever put in the access code. He could have found a piece of paper with the access code that they have somewhere. There's so many different scenarios that it could happen, but the easiest one is that he had easy access to the gun. I mean, that's the easiest of them.
But you think, if you had to put percentages on it, it's highly unlikely,
okay,
that a middle school kid, will have access to the gun safe.
Sure. Okay.
We can surmise that there's we don't think that.
It's fair.
That, all right? So we could kind of rule that out.
Okay.
Now there's a possibility he may have seen his mother or father put the code in. But then he has to go and remember the code. He has to write that code down and all of that stuff.
Yeah, it's a small percentage. Yeah.
Yeah.
The like I said before, the easiest thing would be to say that he had easy access to this gun.
No, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but it's kind of scary that, a kid. Why do people? You for against guns?
Am I for or against
guns? Are you
guns?
pro or anti-guns?
I think I'm going to be on the side of anti-guns.
Anti-guns, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I would be the same too as well. And any specific reason why you anti-guns?
I mean, is there any specific reason? I think there's a plethora of reasons. I don't even think I need to explain them. I mean, look at what's happened.
But sometimes people tell you it's not the gun, it's the person, is the individual. It's not the gun that's doing the damage. It's actually the person behind the gun. And most of the time they're saying that the person behind the gun might be mentally unstable. So due to the people having these mental problems, they use the gun as a weapon.
I mean, I've heard that argument so many times. I just don't think that's a fair argument. I don't think it's good, but I think it's good in the fact that it creates polarized opinions. So when you say it's not the gun, it's the person, well, someone's going to be like, well, no, that's not true. It's obviously the gun, and another person will be like, oh, it's not. It's going to be the person, and then they're going to argue over it for some time. When you look at all of these issues with cops, you could say the same thing. It's not the gun, it's the person. Well, the person's pulling the trigger, and the gun's doing the damage. So, I mean, I feel as though it is a bit of both, but it being that makes it a good argument.
Well, what you can do in order to eliminate both of them is that you get rid of the gun, and the person that has the mental illness, you get them help.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy. It's easy as that, right?
It's easy as that. But the NRA is not gonna. The NRA is not gonna go for that. They're like, it always amazes me, really and truly. But growing up in Trinidad and Tobago, the only person that had a gun was a police officer, and very rarely did you see a police officer on the street with a gun. Very rarely. Most of the officers have what they call a baton. The nightstick.
It's different culture. I don't think it's necessarily comparable.
No, but now they all have guns.
Yeah.
Because what it is now is that the bandits that we call them in Trinidad, they got bigger guns than the police.
Sure.
So the police have to have guns now in order to protect themselves from the bandits.
It's the same thing over here. People over here have guns that are bigger than the police. It's the same thing.
So it appears that, well, in Trinidad, crime is a problem. But it appears to me that crime is a problem all over the world.
Absolutely.
It's not just Trinidad and Tobago. But you know what? And we digressing a little bit. But you know what? I used to be a proponent of the oh my God, I'm losing track of it now. It was the policy implemented by New York, and it was Rudy Giuliani under, I think it's, Commissioner Bratton, whereas that they deal with the little items, they deal with the little misdemeanor crimes in order to, broken windows theory it's called.
Sure, yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah,
yes, I've heard of it.
Yeah, you deal with the minor crimes, and the minor crimes will take care of the bigger stuff. Because the broken windows theory says that if you see a building with one broken pane, and you leave that broken pane, you don't fix that broken pane, eventually somebody's going to come along and break all the other windows in the building. Right? So, with that theory is that, you remember, they used to have squeegees on the streets. Squeegees with a guy that they had like water, and they had like a sponge, or they had like a window wiper, and they will come and they'll wipe your window, clean your window, and they ask you for $1. Well, under Mayor Giuliani, they got rid of that. So they had cops going after these squeegee guys. If you jump the turnstile on the train in the subways, they had cops going after you. If you did graffiti on the subways, they had cops going after you. So I used to say that the broken windows theory should have been implemented in Trinidad and Tobago, because in Trinidad and Tobago we are kind of a lawless society, to be honest with you. In that in Trinidad and Tobago around carnival time, people will go and urinate any place. They just urinate on trees, anywhere.
That's anywhere.
Huh?
I mean that.
Anywhere.
Yeah. Okay.
And in addition to that, in Trinidad and Tobago, we drink on the streets anytime, anywhere. Right? So
I just don't think you can compare America to Trinidad and Tobago. It's just polar opposites.
but
They're not comparable. I mean, they don't even run the same sort of governmental system.
well, we have a democratic system too.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a president and a prime minister. But
Yeah, I mean, you were once owned by England, so I mean, England is a monarchy, so therefore you have a prime minister.
Speak up.
England is a monarchy, therefore that's why you have deep embedded roots with England's system. I mean, even though you're a democratic state now, it's just completely different from America.
Yeah, but it should be easier. It should be easier. For example, if you are gonna speed on the highway, there should at least be police out there to tell you that if you're going over the speed limit, you're gonna get a ticket. In Trinidad and Tobago, there's no police on the highway to give you any ticket. So it's like if you go to Garden State Park where you go to New Jersey Turnpike, there's a great possibility you think in the back of your mind that, you know what, I can speed, but there's a possibility there's a cop down the street somewhere that's going to pull me off for speeding. Not racial profiling now, but for speeding because I'm going over the speed limit. In Trinidad and Tobago, you can go over the speed limit. It's like the Indianapolis 500, man. I ain't lying to you. I go to Trinidad, I'm driving, I'm scared as hell. Because those guys, they you see them coming from like a mile back. And they come and they come close up to you, zoop, and they're gone. In addition to that, they go to the red lights. Some of them, if it's after 12 a.m. in the morning, they don't even stop. They just look left, look right, no cars, they go their way rejoicing. They don't stop. So it's a kind of a lawless society. You know, and those little things that just goes unpunished, they double park. They don't have parking meters in Trinidad and Tobago.
And again, I repeat, it's not. It's just two different societies. I don't think you can compare them.
So you don't think they need these kind of discipline? Because it appears that we are an undisciplined society. How are you going to discipline a society that's been undisciplined for so long?
I mean, that's a really tough question, and obviously, I don't even think this segment that you have here would be able to fully encompass what it would take. But I mean, definitely all those things you mentioned are things that need to be worked on. But it starts at the head. It starts with the person in charge, and then it trickles down.
All right, you went to boarding school. How did they discipline you in boarding school? Didn't they have rules and regulations, and they had people
absolutely
people implementing those?
And again, I feel like even boarding school and private and public school, or say you compare the boarding school I went to, which was high school, and the public school, which I also went to, Columbia High School, I don't even think those two schools are comparable either. Might as well be USA. I mean, no, it's not, but it's a bit of an exaggeration.
Might as well be USA and Trinidad.
That's a bit of an exaggeration. But
so Columbia will be Trinidad, and the boarding school would be like. Right.
What I'm saying is, you're not going to get in trouble if you keep your hands on the table while you eat in Columbia. With the boarding school I went to, if your hands were on the table while you ate, or your elbows were on the table, you would get in trouble. So you can see the difference.
But that's discipline.
Yes, absolutely.
That's teaching you discipline.
I mean, if you got in trouble too many times, you could get kicked out of the school. You could get kicked out for anything. You could get kicked out for getting caught drinking. You could get kicked out for getting into a fight. I mean, you can get kicked out for almost anything.
And how many chances did you have?
You had about two. One or two. It depends upon what you did. It really does.
No, you know, it's and I didn't even want to go there. But you know,